Alex Porter stared out the viewport of the transport ship as it approached Nexus Station. The massive artificial world hung in space like a giant metal flower, its countless docking arms extending outward to welcome ships from across the galaxy. Each petal of this flower represented a different galactic sector, with the central hub housing the chambers of the Galactic Council itself. Alex took a deep breath and straightened the navy blue suit jacket one more time. The formal attire felt restrictive after weeks of space travel, but protocol demanded Earth representatives maintain certain appearances. The suit was a symbol of humanity's diplomatic tradition, simple, dignified, and practical. "Approaching final docking sequence," announced the ship's AI. "Earth diplomatic vessel reaching Nexus Station in 3 minutes." Alex nodded and gathered the data tablets containing Earth's evidence. The summons from the Galactic Council had arrived without warning 3 weeks ago. Earth's outpost near the Vrexian border had reported suspicious military movements, and after months of being ignored, the Council finally agreed to hear humanity's concerns. "Just don't expect much," Admiral Chen had warned during the mission briefing. "The elder species see us as children playing at politics. They've been among the stars for thousands of years while we've barely managed 50. The ship docked with a gentle shudder. Alex stepped through the airlock and was greeted by a tall, blue-skinned being with 4 arms. "I am Clavor, third assistant to the Council Secretary," the alien said without any greeting. "You will follow me to the waiting area. The Council's schedule is very busy today, so your 5-minute slot may be delayed." 5 minutes? Alex frowned. The official summons promised a full hearing. "I have evidence of Vrexian violations in neutral space that threatens multiple species. Not just Earth." Clavor made a whistling sound that might have been laughter. "The Council has allotted what they believe appropriate for the matter. This way, please." Alex followed the blue alien through massive corridors filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. Some species Alex recognized from briefings, while others were completely unknown. Humans were still newcomers to this vast community, having discovered faster-than-light travel only 53 years ago. The waiting area outside the Yar Council chambers was designed to impress or intimidate visitors. Massive statues of the founding species loomed overhead, while the walls displayed shifting scenes of their greatest historical achievements. Nothing human appeared anywhere. "Wait here," Clavor said, pointing to a small bench clearly designed for species with different body structures than humans. "You will be called when the Council is ready." 3 hours passed before Alex's name echoed through the chamber. By then, the coffee tablets had worn off, and anxiety had settled into a cold determination. This might be humanity's only chance to be heard. The Council chamber itself was a vast circular room with 7 massive thrones arranged in a semicircle. Each throne sat atop a raised platform, forcing everyone addressing the Council to look up at them. The symbolism wasn't subtle. "The human representative may approach and state its business," announced a small hovering drone in front of the thrones. Alex walked to the center of the floor, acutely aware of how small one human looked. In this massive space, the 7 Council members stared down with expressions ranging from boredom to mild curiosity. "Respected members of the Galactic Council," Alex began, "I bring urgent evidence of Vrexian military expansion into neutral space, directly violating Treaty 5529 and threatening multiple worlds, including Earth's outer colonies." High Elder Zethkor of the Arcturus Collective, the current Council president, leaned forward slightly. He resembled a tall, thin human with silvery skin and eyes that changed color with his mood. Currently, they glowed a dismissive yellow. "We have reviewed your preliminary data," Zethkor said, his voice echoing. "The Council finds no convincing evidence of treaty violations. But our long-range scans clearly show." Alex tried to bring up the first data tablet. "Your primitive scanning technology is known to produce errors," interrupted the representative from the Muric hierarchy, a feline species known for their technological prowess. "Perhaps you confused a mining operation for military vessels?" Alex felt a flush of anger but kept a neutral expression. "Our technology may not match yours, but we know the difference between mining ships and warships. The Vrexians have established 3 forward bases in neutral territory and..." A sound like tinkling bells filled the chamber. It took Alex a moment to realize the council members were laughing. The human in its little suit thinks it understands. Interstellar politics, said the draconian representative, scales shifting from green to amused purple. How charming. Perhaps the human needs a basic education in galactic affairs, added the representative from the Silicon consciousness. There, robotic body shifting slightly. The Vrexian Empire has been a stable member of our community for 12,000 years. They have no need to violate treaties for expansion. Alex stood firmly, refusing to be intimidated. With respect, council members, history is full of established powers that chose expansion when they thought no one was watching. The evidence we've gathered is insufficient. Zethkor cut in sharply, his eyes now an annoyed orange. This council deals with matters affecting trillions of lives across thousands of worlds. We cannot act on the paranoid imaginings of a species barely out of its planetary cradle. The Muric representative's whiskers twitched in amusement. Perhaps when humans have existed among the stars for more than a few decades, you might better understand the complex relationships between elder species. The Vrexians submitted a formal complaint about your monitoring activities near their space, added Zethkor. They find your behavior provocative. This council advises Earth to focus on its own development and leave galactic security matters to those with the perspective to handle them properly. Alex tried once more. If you would just examine our evidence. This matter is closed, Zethkor declared, his tone final. The human may withdraw. The other council members had already turned to each other, discussing something apparently more important. Alex stood alone on the floor, holding useless data tablets filled with evidence no one would see. The human is still here, the draconian noted with annoyance. Perhaps it doesn't understand dismissal? More laughter filled the chamber. Alex's hands tightened around the tablets, knuckles white with suppressed anger. I understand perfectly, Alex replied, quietly, and I hope the council remembers this day. When the Vrexians move beyond neutral space and threaten worlds under your protection, remember that we tried to warn you. Is that a threat? Zethkor's eyes flashed red momentarily. No, Alex said, meeting his gaze steadily. It's a prediction. Without waiting for a response, Alex turned and walked from the chamber, ignoring the renewed laughter behind. In the grand corridor outside, several representatives from smaller worlds approached with sympathetic expressions. They treated our warnings the same way, said a small green being from a world near Earth's sector. The council only listens when it's too late. Alex nodded but said nothing. The humiliation burned, but beneath it a cold resolve was forming. Earth had hoped for allies and found only mockery. That would be the council's mistake. During the journey back to Earth, Alex composed a simple message to Admiral Chen. Council dismissed all evidence. Recommend immediate activation of Project Prometheus. They mocked the human in a suit today. Let's see if they laugh when their worlds burn tomorrow. The transport ship turned toward home, leaving Nexus Station behind. In 3 months, everything would change. The council had forgotten a fundamental truth about humans. They were at their most dangerous when underestimated. 3 months passed since Alex Porter's humiliating appearance before the Galactic Council. Earth's government had taken the warning signs seriously, even if the Council had not. Military vessels patrolled the outer colonies in greater numbers, and civilian ships received new orders to report any unusual activity immediately. The first attack came at dawn, Colony Standard Time. The small research outpost on Europa 2, a moon in the Tau Ceti system, detected 5 unidentified vessels entering their space. Before they could send more than a partial distress signal, the outpost went silent. By the time Earth's nearest patrol ship arrived, nothing remained but floating debris and radiation. Admiral Samantha Wells stared at the damage reports scrolling across her command screen aboard the Earth Defense Fleet flagship, Defender. Her weathered face showed no emotion, but her eyes burned with contained anger. Confirmed Vrexian energy signatures, reported her second-in-command, Commander Ryan Phillips. They didn't even try to hide their identity. Casualties? She asked quietly. All hands lost. 87 researchers and support staff. Samantha closed her eyes briefly. Send word to Earth Central. The Vrexians have officially started their war. She turned to the tactical display showing positions of all Earth ships in nearby systems. And get me everything we have on their new weapons. Our standard defenses didn't even slow them down. Back on Earth, Alex Porter sat in an underground conference room 50 levels beneath New Geneva. Around the table sat the 12 members of Earth Security Council, their faces grim as they reviewed the footage from Tau Ceti. The Vrexians have developed some kind of phased energy weapon, explained General Frank Rivera, pointing to analysis of the attack. It bypasses our shield technology completely. The research station was destroyed in seconds. And the council? Asked President Eleanor Grant, her voice tight with anger. Alex's expression darkened. I submitted an emergency communication. Their response was that they need to gather facts from both sides before determining if action is warranted. Both sides? The president's fist hit the table. There are no two sides here. This was an unprovoked attack on a civilian research facility. The council suggested, Alex continued with barely controlled anger, that perhaps our facility was engaging in prohibited weapons research which would justify the Vrexian response. Silence fell over the room. Finally, Dr. Eric Mason, a quiet man with gray-streaked hair who rarely spoke at these meetings, cleared his throat. Madam President, I believe it's time to activate Project Prometheus. All eyes turned to him. Project Prometheus had been Earth's most closely guarded secret for 15 years. Hidden from the Galactic Council and all alien allies, it represented humanity's insurance policy against exactly this scenario. The president looked around the table. Opinions? The Vrexians leave us no choice, said General Rivera. If we don't use everything we have, humanity becomes just another extinct species in the Council's historical archives. Dr. Mason, the president said, what's the current status of the project? Eric Mason opened his secure tablet and projected a hologram above the table. It showed various weapon systems, ships, and technologies that officially didn't exist. We have 26 advanced vessels ready for deployment, with another 15 nearing completion. The Phase 1 defensive systems can be activated at all remaining colonies within 48 hours. He looked up from his notes. The prototype for Phoenix-class offensive capabilities has been successfully tested. It's devastating. And the Council has no knowledge of any of this? Asked the president. Alex shook his head. They believe we're still struggling with basic shield harmonics. Their arrogance is our greatest advantage right now. The president stood up. Very well. Dr. Mason, you have full authorization to activate all aspects of Project Prometheus. General Rivera, coordinate with Admiral Wells to deploy our conventional forces as cover for the Prometheus fleet's movements. She turned to Alex. And I need you to make one final appeal to the Council. Alex looked surprised. You can't believe they'll help now? I don't, she said grimly. But I want their refusal documented for history. When this is over, the galaxy will know we tried diplomacy until the very end. 3 days later, emergency alerts blared across the Proxima Centauri colony. The planet, Earth's most developed off-world settlement with over 2 million inhabitants, detected a massive Vrexian fleet entering the system. 37 warships confirmed, reported the colony's defense coordinator to Earth Central. We've begun civilian evacuations, but we can't possibly get everyone out in time. In orbit above the colony, a small defense force of 10 Earth ships prepared for what seemed like a suicide stand. Captain Lisa Reyes on the lead vessel Guardian addressed her crew. We hold the line until reinforcements arrive. Every minute we give, the colonists might save thousands of lives. Captain, her sensor officer called out with confusion in his voice. Something's happening to the orbital platforms. The 12 defensive platforms that surrounded the colony, considered outdated technology even by Earth standards, were changing. Their dull gray surfaces rippled like water, then reconfigured into sleek black structures with glowing blue energy lines pulsing across their surfaces. What in the world? Lisa whispered. Her communications officer turned with wide eyes. Captain, Receiving transmission from Earth Defense Command. Message reads, Prometheus activated. Pull back and observe. The Vrexian fleet entered firing range, their massive lead dreadnought powering up its main cannon. A blinding beam of energy lashed out toward the colony, only to strike an invisible barrier that flared brilliant blue. On impact, the energy didn't dissipate against the shield. Instead, it seemed to be absorbed, flowing along the blue lines of the defense platforms. Then, without warning, the platforms fired back, returning the combined energy with terrifying precision. The Vrexian dreadnought's shields failed instantly, and the massive ship split apart in a blinding explosion. By all the stars, breathed Lisa as her ship's sensors recorded everything. What are we witnessing? The remaining Vrexian ships fired in panic, only to have their energy weapons absorbed and reflected back at them. 3 more ships exploded, before the alien fleet desperately began retreat maneuvers. On Nexus Station, the Galactic Council had convened an emergency session as reports flooded in about the Vrexian attack on Proxima Centauri. High Elder Zethkor was in the middle of a speech about regrettable conflicts between developing species when the chamber doors slammed open. Alex Porter walked in, still wearing the same navy blue suit from 3 months ago. The council guards moved to intercept, but something in the human's expression made them hesitate. The Vrexian fleet attacking our colony has been defeated, Alex announced, voice echoing through the suddenly silent chamber. 3 of their dreadnoughts and 4 support ships have been destroyed. The rest are retreating. Impossible, the Myrick representative hissed. Your technology is not what you thought it was. Alex finished coldly. You had your chance to prevent this conflict. Now you will witness what happens when humanity fights for survival. High Elder Zethkor's eyes had turned a worried purple. What have you done? Alex turned to leave but paused at the door. We've merely leveled the playing field, and this is just the beginning. News of the Proxima Centauri victory spread quickly through human space. For the first time since the Vrexian attacks began, people allowed themselves to feel hope. Across the galaxy, other species watched with growing interest as the supposedly primitive humans demonstrated technology no one believed they possessed. On the bridge of the Retribution, Earth's first true warship built under Project Prometheus, Captain Lisa Reyes studied the tactical display. The sleek black vessel absorbed light rather than reflecting it, making it difficult to track visually. Its hull contained technologies reverse-engineered from a dozen different alien sources, combined with uniquely human innovations. Status report, Lisa ordered, as they approached the edge of the Arcturus system. All systems operating at optimal levels, responded her first officer, Paul Martinez. Stealth systems engaged. As far as anyone can tell, we're just background radiation. Lisa nodded. And the rest of the fleet? The other 5 ships are in position, just awaiting your command. The mission was clear. The Vrexian Empire had established a major forward base in the Arcturus system, using it to stage attacks on human colonies. Earth's response would not be defensive this time. All ships, execute attack pattern Delta, Lisa commanded. Remember, we want prisoners and their data cores intact if possible. Across the void of space, 6 human ships appeared seemingly from nowhere, surrounding the Vrexian base. Before the alien sensors could even register their presence, the human vessels fired specialized energy pulses that disabled the base's communication systems. Inside the base, alarms blared as Commander Vexillar, the Vrexian officer in charge, rushed to the command center. What's happening? He demanded. Unknown ships, a subordinate responded, panic evident in his clicking speech. They've disabled our communications and weapons are offline. On the main view screen, a human face appeared. Captain Lisa Reyes looked at the Vrexian commander without expression. This is Captain Reyes of Earth Defense Force. Your base is surrounded and disabled. Surrender immediately or be destroyed. Commander Vexlar's faceplates fluttered in rage. Humans don't have this technology. This is some kind of trick. Lisa's expression didn't change. You have 1 minute to begin evacuation procedures. After that, we start firing. 59 seconds later, escape pods began launching from the Vrexian base. The Retribution allowed them to leave, capturing only the command pod containing Vexlar and his senior officers. Download their entire database, Lisa ordered as boarding teams secured the base. I want to know every Vrexian military position, every weapons cache, every secret they've been keeping. What they found exceeded even their expectations. The Vrexians had been planning their expansion for decades, building hidden bases throughout neutral space. More disturbing were communications between Vrexian High Command and certain members of the Galactic Council. They knew, Paul said quietly, reviewing the data. Some of the council members knew about the planned attacks on our colonies and did nothing. Lisa's face hardened. Send everything to Earth Central immediately, and prepare to destroy this base once we've extracted all useful technology. As the human fleet departed, the Vrexian base erupted in a controlled implosion that left nothing but scattered atoms. On Earth, Dr. Eric Mason presented the captured Vrexian data to the Security Council. The room grew increasingly tense as the evidence of council complicity became clear. High Elder Zethkor himself approved the Vrexian expansion plans, Dr. Mason explained, displaying the translated communications. 3 other council members were also involved: the representatives from the Draconian Imperium, the Silicon Consciousness, and the Muric Hierarchy. President Grant's face showed controlled fury. So when we presented our evidence 3 months ago, they were already fully aware, Alex Porter finished. They weren't dismissing our claims out of ignorance. They were actively covering for the Vrexians. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just about defending against the Vrexian Empire anymore. The corruption went all the way to the highest levels of galactic governance. What's our next move? General Rivera asked finally. We continue with Phase 2 of Project Prometheus, Dr. Mason replied. But we expand our targets to include council facilities that have been supporting Vrexian aggression. This means war not just with the Vrexians, but potentially with the council itself, President Grant noted. Alex stood up. I should return to Nexus Station. If there are council members who weren't involved in this conspiracy, we need to find them. We'll need allies before this is over. Agreed, the president said. But you won't go alone this time. The Retribution will take you there cloaked but ready to act if necessary. 2 days later, Alex Porter walked once more into the council chambers on Nexus Station. This time, the mood was very different. News of the Vrexian defeat had spread, and rumors of advanced human technology had many species reconsidering their views of Earth. High Elder Zethkor's eyes flashed a nervous yellow when he spotted Alex. The human representative is recognized, he said, his voice less commanding than before. Alex approached the center of the chamber, still wearing the same navy blue suit, now with a small silver pin in the shape of a phoenix rising from flames, the symbol of Project Prometheus. 3 months ago I stood here warning you of Vrexian aggression, Alex began, voice carrying throughout the chamber. You laughed and dismissed humanity as primitives playing at politics. Screens around the chamber, activated, displaying the captured Vrexian communications, including those with council members. Now we bring evidence not just of Vrexian attacks, but of council complicity in those attacks. Gasps and murmurs erupted from the gallery, where representatives from hundreds of worlds watched. Several of the smaller species ambassadors stood up in outrage. These are serious accusations, Zethkor said, his voice strained. We will need to verify. The verification is already displayed for all to see, Alex interrupted. Your own words, High Elder. Approving attacks on human colonies. The Draconian representative hissed angrily. How dare you fabricate such? We didn't fabricate anything, Alex said coldly. But we did hide our true capabilities while you underestimated us. That was your mistake. Outside the station, the Retribution decloaked, its black hull absorbing nearby light while its weapons, systems powered up visibly. 5 more human ships appeared around the station, their presence a clear message. Humanity came to you in peace, Alex continued. We sought cooperation and received contempt. We requested help and were given mockery. Alex looked directly at Zethkor. Now we return with a different message. The attacks on human worlds will stop immediately. The corrupt council members will step down. And a new galactic order will begin, one where no species is considered too primitive to deserve protection. And if we refuse? The Murik representative asked, whiskers twitching nervously. Alex's voice became quiet, yet somehow more threatening. Then you will learn why. Throughout human history, the most dangerous moment was always when the powerful underestimated those they thought weak. The pin on Alex's suit caught the light, the phoenix's flame seeming almost to move. You mocked. The human in a suit. Now your worlds will burn if you force our hand. Chaos erupted in the council chambers after Alex Porter's ultimatum. Representatives from dozens of worlds demanded explanations, while the accused council members tried desperately to maintain control. Outside, the human warships maintained their positions, weapons ready but not yet firing. This session is adjourned until we can verify these claims. High Elder Zethkor shouted over the noise, his eyes now a panicked purple. I don't think so, came a new voice. All eyes turned to see Ambassador Jarrell of the Pleiadian Alliance, a coalition of younger species often ignored by the Council. The tall, slender alien approached Alex Porter and stood beside the human. The Pleiadian Alliance has long suspected corruption within the Council, Jarrell announced. We support Earth's demand for immediate restructuring of galactic governance. One by one, representatives from other marginalized species joined them in the center of the chamber. The Rigelian Compact, the Tau Coalition, the free worlds of Mio, Orion. Each had suffered under the Council's dismissive policies, and each now saw an opportunity for change. The Silicon Consciousness representative's mechanical voice cut through the growing rebellion. Human ships may have surprised the Vrexians, but they cannot stand against the combined might of the elder races. Are you declaring war against Earth? Alex asked quietly. We are stating reality, the Draconian representative hissed. Your species has existed among the stars for barely half a century. Our civilizations have ruled space for millennia. This tantrum will end with humanity's extinction. Alex smiled for the first time since entering the chamber. I was hoping you would say something like that. Turning to the assembled representatives, Alex activated a holographic display in the center of the room. It showed a complete map of known space with thousands of worlds marked in different colors. As we speak, human ships are moving into position across the galaxy, Alex explained. Not just the few you see outside, but hundreds deployed from hidden shipyards we've been building for decades. Red dots appeared throughout the map, each representing a human vessel or weapons platform. There were far more than anyone had believed possible. Impossible, whispered the Murik representative. Your industrial capacity couldn't possibly— You assumed we were using only our visible factories, Alex interrupted. Another mistake. Project Prometheus began the day we first discovered we weren't alone in the universe. While showing you our primitive ships and asking for technological scraps, we were analyzing every piece of advanced technology we encountered. Learning, adapting, improving. Back on Earth, Dr. Eric Mason stood in the massive underground control center of Project Prometheus. Screens around him showed live feeds from human ships across the galaxy, including the confrontation at Nexus Station. All units report ready status, Doctor, his assistant said quietly. Eric nodded. Begin Phase 3 transmissions. Across human space and beyond, hidden communication relays activated. For the first time, Earth's ships could communicate in real time, across any distance, a technology thought impossible by the elder races. It's working perfectly, Eric said with quiet pride. 50 years of preparation, and the network is functioning at 100% efficiency. On Nexus Station, Alex received confirmation. Through a small earpiece, the Phoenix network was online. Perhaps a demonstration is required, Alex said to the Council. Observe the Vrexian military base in the Procyon system. The holographic display shifted to show a massive Vrexian installation, their largest military hub outside their home system. As they watched, a small object appeared near the base. That's a standard Earth cargo drone, Alex explained. Or at least, that's what it appears to be. The drone approached the base unchallenged. When it reached a certain proximity, it simply dissolved. In its place appeared a swarm of microscopic machines that enveloped the base like a silver cloud. Nanite disassemblers, Alex said, as the council watched in horror. One of many technologies we've developed while you weren't paying attention. On the display, the massive Rexian base began to come apart at the molecular level. In less than 5 minutes, nothing remained but a cloud of component atoms. The base has been reduced to raw materials, Alex continued calmly. No radiation, no explosion, no collateral damage, just deconstruction. The chamber had fallen completely silent. Even Zethkor seemed too shocked to speak. We have similar devices positioned near the homeworlds of each council member who conspired with the Vrexians, Alex added. Not to mention conventional weapons that can target specific buildings from orbit with pinpoint accuracy. You would destroy entire worlds over a political disagreement? The Silicon Consciousness representative asked, its mechanical voice actually showing emotion for the first time. Fear. No, Alex said firmly. Unlike you, we don't target civilians or destroy worlds. Our quarrel is with corrupt leaders, not innocent populations. The nanites would only target military and government facilities of those who ordered attacks on our colonies. Turning to the broader assembly of representatives, Alex continued. Humanity doesn't want to rule the galaxy. We simply refuse to be ruled by those who have proven themselves unworthy of power. Ambassador Jarrell of the Pleiadian Alliance stepped forward. We propose an immediate vote of no confidence in the current council structure, followed by the formation of a transitional authority representing all species equally. Seconded, called out representatives from a dozen worlds almost simultaneously. High Elder Zethkor's eyes had faded to a dull gray as he realized his position was untenable. And if we resist this coup? In answer, Alex simply touched the phoenix pin on his suit. Throughout the chamber, small lights began blinking on the chairs of the 4 implicated council members. What is this? The draconian representative demanded, noticing the light beneath him. Insurance, Alex replied. Micro-nanite packages already attached to your bodies. One signal and they enter your bloodstream, or whatever passes for it in your species. You would experience a rapid but painless death. You already have them, the Muric representative realized in horror. When did you? We've had them in place for weeks, Alex said. Did you think our technology was limited to ships and weapons? We've had operatives on this station since the day you mocked me. Across the galaxy, human forces continued to move into strategic positions. The Vrexian Empire, its leadership in disarray after the loss of multiple bases, had already begun withdrawing from contested territories. On the bridge of the Retribution, Captain Lisa Reyes received new orders from Earth Command. All ships to maintain positions but stand down from offensive posture, she announced to her crew. It appears the council is beginning to see reason. In the chamber, voting was already underway. The motion to dissolve the current council structure passed with overwhelming support, leaving the elder species outvoted for the first time in galactic history. This is not the end we wanted, Alex told the assembly as the votes were counted, but it is the beginning we need. A galaxy where all species have a voice, not just those who arrived first. As humans and aliens began discussing the framework for a new galactic governance, Alex stepped aside and sent a simple message to Earth. Phase 3 complete. The Phoenix has risen. 1 month after the dramatic confrontation at Nexus Station, representatives from more than 500 worlds gathered for the signing of the Galactic Concord, a new foundation for interstellar relations. The massive ceremonial hall on the neutral world of Centaurus Prime buzzed with excitement and cautious hope. Alex Porter stood near the central platform, still wearing the navy blue suit that had become something of a symbol. The phoenix pin caught the light as Alex surveyed the gathered diplomats. So much had changed in such a short time. Nervous? Asked Ambassador Jarrell, approaching with a respectful nod. Cautiously optimistic, Alex replied. Today marks either a new beginning or merely a pause before the next conflict, the Pleiadian smiled. For someone whose species just reshaped the political landscape of an entire galaxy, you remain remarkably modest. Before Alex could respond, a hush fell over the assembly as the 7 newly elected representatives of the Galactic Concord entered. Unlike the old council with its fixed seats for elder races, these representatives had been chosen through open elections, with all worlds given equal votes regardless of their technological advancement or how long they had been spacefaring. Hi. Elder Zethkor was conspicuously absent. After the evidence of his corruption became public, he had resigned in disgrace and retreated to his homeworld. The other implicated council members had faced similar fates. President Eleanor Grant led the Earth delegation, her dignified presence commanding respect. In the month since the council's dissolution, she had worked tirelessly with leaders from other worlds to draft the Concord. Today we gather not as elder or younger races, not as advanced or developing civilizations, but as equals, she began, her voice carried throughout the hall by subtle amplifiers. The document before us establishes a new principle in galactic relations, that the worth of a species is measured not by its age or power, but by its actions and ideals. Around the hall, translation devices ensured every representative understood her words in their native language. Many nodded in agreement. The Galactic Concord establishes 3 fundamental principles. President Grant continued. First, the right of all sentient species to exist without fear of aggression or extinction. Second, the responsibility of all spacefaring civilizations to assist those threatened by natural disaster or outside attack. And third, the guarantee that no voice will be silenced simply because it is new or different. Across the galaxy, billions watched the proceedings through live transmissions. On Earth, crowds gathered in public squares to witness this historic moment. Dr. Eric Mason observed from the Prometheus Control Center, his usual reserve giving way to quiet pride. Captain Lisa Reyes and her crew watched from the bridge of the Retribution, now patrolling peacefully near the Vrexian border as part of a multinational peacekeeping force. Some will say that these changes came through threat of force, President Grant acknowledged, addressing the unspoken concern in the room. They will not be entirely wrong, but I would remind everyone that for decades, many worlds suffered under the old system that claimed to be peaceful, while enabling aggression against those deemed unimportant. She gestured toward the human ships visible through the hall's massive windows, now joined by vessels from dozens of other worlds in a shared defense fleet. Earth did not develop its technology in secret because we sought conflict. We did so because history, both our own and that of many species represented here, taught us that good intentions are not enough. Peace must be protected, justice must be enforced, and sometimes the powerful must be reminded that they are not invulnerable. The signing ceremony began, with each representative approaching to add their mark to the document. When Alex's turn came, many eyes followed the human in the now famous Navy suit. As Alex signed, a message arrived from Captain Reyes. Vrexian High Command has formally surrendered. Their fleet is standing down across all sectors. The final conflict had ended not with more destruction, but with the realization that the old order had truly fallen. Without council support, the Vrexian Empire could not stand against the combined forces now allied against them. After the ceremony, representatives mingled in the Great Hall, forming new connections and alliances. A small figure approached Alex, a representative from one of the worlds that had suffered Vrexian attacks. "My people were on the verge of extinction when your ships arrived," she said simply. "We will not forget." Alex nodded. "Humanity remembers what it's like to feel vulnerable. We just wanted to ensure no one else experienced what we feared. Some are calling you the most dangerous species in the galaxy now," she added with what appeared to be a smile. "The humans who hid their strength until the perfect moment. We prefer to be known as the species that ended the age of bullies," Alex replied. "Whether we're feared or admired matters less than whether we've created something better than what came before." President Grant joined them, having finished her diplomatic rounds. "It's time," she said quietly to Alex. Together, they moved to the center of the hall, drawing everyone's attention once more. "As a symbol of our commitment to this new era," the president announced, "Earth will be sharing key defensive technologies with all signatories of the Concord. No world should ever again feel helpless in the face of aggression." Murmurs of surprise, spread through the gathering. Few had expected Earth to relinquish its technological advantage so soon. Additionally, Alex added, we will be deactivating most of our hidden weapons platforms. They served their purpose in securing this peace. Now it's time to build rather than prepare for war. Later that evening, as the celebrations continued, Alex stood alone on a balcony overlooking the capital city. The stars above seemed brighter. Somehow the galaxy suddenly full of possibilities rather than threats. President Grant found Alex there gazing at the sky. Having regrets? She asked. Wondering what comes next, Alex replied. We became what we needed to be to survive. The question is, who do we become now that we've won? She smiled. That's the question every civilization must answer after facing its darkest hour. The fact that you're asking it gives me hope for our answer. 1 week later, a small ceremony took place in the newly established Museum of Galactic History on Earth. In a simple display case illuminated by soft lights, lay a navy blue suit with a small phoenix pin on the lapel. The plaque beneath it, read, worn by Ambassador Alex Porter during humanity's first appearance before the Galactic Council and during the signing of the Galactic Concord. A reminder that appearances can deceive, that strength comes in many forms, and that justice, sometimes, requires standing firm when others would have you kneel. Beside it, a second plaque carried a simple warning that would be remembered across the stars for generations to come. They mocked the human in a suit. Their planets burned, their empire fell, their arrogance became their undoing. May we all remember the lesson they learned too late.